This is a sermon about expectations. We all have expectations every day. Things we think will or should happen. We wake up every morning and expect the sun to be there in the sky, gravity to keep us fixed on the ground, and the places we live to still be standing. And those things are almost always true. Although, did you see this week the story of the young couple in Australia who on their wedding day found their house floating down a river? That wasn't what they expected, nor, I'm sure, what they wanted. And then we have expectations of life, of how we think things will turn out. We expect that the plans we make will happen, that we will be able to do the things we want to do, that we can make decisions and act on them. This last year has reminded us all that our expectations don't always happen. We've all lived this last year a very different way of life to the one we expected. And then there's expectations in our relationships. If you live with other people, who do you expect to empty the bins and put out the rubbish, or do the washing up, or clean the bathroom? And do they know that you expect them to do this? Do they do it? Those are small examples, but one of the things that destroys relationships more than anything else is unspoken expectations. When people are not able to be honest with each other about their expectations of a relationship and how they want it to work, then disappointment can easily set in. I know too many people whose marriages have failed, largely because they weren't able to be honest with each other about their expectations. But the reality is, we all let each other down in little ways every day. Day-to-day life is full of small disappointments, many unintentional, but there anyway. A promise to do something broken, a special date forgotten, important words not said. In our family at the moment, we have a phrase when one of us doesn't meet the other's expectations. We put on a mock James Bond villain voice and we say, "You've disappointed me for the last time, again." It's our way of recognizing that none of us are perfect, that we all disappoint each other all the time. And that's true, I think, in church life as well. You probably have expectations of me as the vicar, expectations that I almost certainly don't meet. When I was a curate, I remember being in a training session, and the person leading said something to us that has stayed with me ever since. They said, "Every day, as a vicar, you will have to decide who you are going to let down." I found that so helpful because it's true. The point they were making is that the expectations on vicars are far above their ability to deliver. So we need to come to terms with letting people down. And I'm sure that's true for many other roles and areas of life as well. I wonder, where have you been let down this week? And by whom? And who did you let down this week? and why? Today is Palm Sunday, when we remember Jesus arriving in Jerusalem on a donkey. That day, nearly 2,000 years ago, there were many different expectations. Some of them were contradictory, and there was no way that all of them could be met. Jesus entered Jerusalem on a donkey. Weird, we may think, but it was a symbolic act. Like carrying a flag or burning your bras, it means something, and everyone at the time would have understood. The Old Testament prophet Zechariah, centuries before, had said this: "Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout aloud, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, your king is coming to you. Righteous and having salvation is he, humble and mounted on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey." So Jesus didn't say it with words that day, but here he is coming to Jerusalem as king. And the crowd can see it. They know what's happening. This isn't just the disciples. These are the pilgrims coming to Jerusalem to celebrate Passover. Thousands of them. And as Jesus enters the city, they shout, "Hosanna! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the coming kingdom of our ancestor David." This is the King coming to his city. And the crowd's expectations are sky high. God's kingdom is coming soon. The kingdom of David will begin anew. Now, David's kingdom was the high point of the Old Testament. It never got better than that. And that's what the crowds are looking for. That's what they expect. That's also what the disciples think. Just before this, James and John have asked Jesus if they can sit either side of him when Jesus is on his throne. That tells us what the disciples expect. This is the moment when Jesus is going to take charge. This is the time when everything is going to change for the better. When Jesus is ruling and not the hated Romans. But there are other people with other expectations. Matthew's gospel tells us that when the chief priests and the scribes saw what was happening, they were angry. They did not want this. They expected things to stay as they were. Change was not on their agenda. So many expectations that Palm Sunday, and not all of them could come true. The crowds, the disciples, the Jewish leaders. But what about Jesus himself? I wonder what Jesus was thinking on Palm Sunday. Was he joyful like the crowd? Did he get caught up in the celebration? I think perhaps not. As the crowds and his friends cheered and welcomed Jesus into the city, I think perhaps he was sad. Because Jesus knew, even if they didn't, that he'd come to Jerusalem not to sit on a throne, but to hang on a cross. Jesus hoped that God's kingdom was going to come, but not the way the crowd imagined it. Jesus knew that their expectations were wrong. And maybe it's worth us thinking about our expectations again. Our expectations of our lives, of our church, even of the next few months as we hope and expect that pandemic restrictions are eased. Where in your life have your expectations not been met? And how do you feel about that? Is there sadness in your heart where you feel you've been let down? When we find that our expectations and our experience don't match, it's good to talk about it, to get it out in the open, to say it to someone else, and also to bring it to God as well. We all live with disappointment and broken expectations, some big, some little. I wonder what you're living with today. As we journey through this coming week, we will see the clash of expectations. The disciples, the crowds, the Jewish leaders, and Jesus himself. All of this led to the events of Good Friday, when the chief priests and scribes thought they had got their way, and the expectations of the disciples came crashing down. Do join us this week. Do join in this week as we remember that the kingdom of God did come, just not in the way that anyone other than Jesus himself expected, but in a way that changed the world and our lives forever.